Heyo, I'm gonna try and give a quick rundown of how to use MacroLua, or more so, a quick workflow for doing so. Um, I guess the benefit here is trying to think of a way of loading states and making reproducible interactions. So hopefully that will become clear if you pay attention. And to be honest, I don't use MacroLua too much. I oftentimes will just frame by frame things using the frame by frame hotkey. And as you can see, I'm kind of, just controlling the dummy and the player at the same time. And to do that, I just use my keyboard and my stick. And on my stick, I have extra buttons sort of at the top, so I can use my joystick while hitting a frame increment button. And I'll show you what that means. So inside of the, forgive my FPNO for a second, it went into full screen for no reason. So if you look, you can see I have, a normal joystick kind of set up here. And then I have like a hitbox layout-ish on the keyboard, and the attack buttons are kind of right under the QWERTY because it makes it easier to one-hand controlling the dummy. But hopefully you won't have to do that with this method. So here are some important hotkeys. Volume up, volume down are currently set up for recording and playback in the training mode. Pause will pause FBNEO, and system frame is probably the most important hotkey. So let's look at how that works. So again, I have a hotkey kind of above my joystick on my Hori Wrap N, and I kind of keep my middle finger on there, and I will just step through things. So if I wanted to test, I don't know, some interactions like wake up, ESCR, or something. It's a contrived example, but I'm just manually toggling a button, and then you can see that I'm in the input display at the bottom there. I'm inputting frame by frame perfect to try to get, let's say a meaty ESCR. If you notice, I'm doing this on normal speed. So MBD recently put in game speed option. So if you don't have that option, you're going to want to download the latest training mode. There's also a background music, toggle that I put in recently, so that's helpful for making these VODs. And the reason we want to do this on game speed normal is because there's no frame skip. All right, cool. So you get the idea. But what if we didn't want to have to ninja using two hands at once, right? Because having to press a bunch of buttons to try to get, a frame perfect interaction here, it's kind of not the best. It takes a long time and, whatnot. So let's get an overview of how MacroLua works. So the first thing we want to do is realize that there's an option in the training mode that's called use save state upon recording. And what that will do is when you hit the record button, you will automatically create a save state, and that save state will then load when you do playback. So here's an example. So let's say I'm frame incrementing. So I'm, doing one of those. But if I want to start a recording on a specific frame, like I can hold down the recording button, the input I would like, and then frame increment, right? So right there, I didn't press the button, apparently. Okay, so here's me holding down HP 6 and recording at the same time, and then hitting the frame increment button. So now you see that we have a recording and our 6 HP input. So if we play it back, there we go. So if you notice on the right hand side here, I'm not sure you can see it, but the training mode kind of debug log shows that the macro that we were just recording when we hit record is recording under Morgan/lastrecording.mis. And so that file will be under the FBNeo folder, scripts, macro, Morgan, and then lastrecording.mis. And I have that file here. And because we just wrote a new recording to that file, my text editor says, hey, we just changed this file. Should you reload it? Yes. All right. So I'll go more in detail in a second, but what this one says is I pressed right and button 3, which is heavy punch. And then on the next frame, the dot means the next frame, or the dot means this input's ended. Go to the next command. And this says I waited 91 frames of idle before terminating the recording. So let's try to figure out all of the ways that we can use this just by recording different things and then looking at what the file generates. I promise you it sounds really complicated, but it's actually very straightforward. So here's a recording I'll do, and this will be a good testing recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the record button, press frame increment. You can see I'm recording, and I'll do step through left, wait a frame, down, wait a frame, right, wait a frame, up, wait a frame, and then I'll hold down the recording toggle and increment it, and that should be our full recording. So kind of what we would expect here, it says wait a frame, left, that frame is done. There was nothing in between these two frames. I don't know why it's highlighting both. Okay, yes. So that's wait a frame. Next input, down, nothing, right, nothing, up, nothing. So the dot you can look at as the frame terminator. So let's explore this from the other way around. What if I wanted to make the CPU wait 5 frames and then press left? I would press dot, 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 left, dot. Save that file. Whoops. And then let's press playback, and let's make it all slow. So right. So it's a bit weird with the save state and the input display, unfortunately, but you can see that we loaded the state there. I don't know if you saw the jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, left. So now and this bug, I'll fix it. I'm waiting for Fightcade to push some changes that I've made, and it should let us hook into this at load time. Long story, but I won't bore you with it. So what about attacks? So attacks, let's hold the record button, and I'll do light punch, wait a frame, medium punch, wait a frame, heavy punch, wait a frame, light kick, wait a frame, medium kick, wait a frame, heavy kick, wait a frame. And then I'll stop recording. So you can see that it plays all of those. And what does it look like here? It looks a lot like our wait a frame left, right, down, up, but instead we see that light punch is keyed in as 1, medium punch is 2, heavy punch is 3, etc., etc. The kicks are 4, 5, and 6. Basically, 1, 2, 3, light, medium, heavy punch, 4, 5, 6, light, medium, heavy kick. So yeah, again, we can play that back, and it'll play all of our things. So a useful feature is instead of putting the dot here, which kind of gets confusing. And if you, let's imagine you wanted to wait like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know what I mean. And you're gonna have to count dots or whatnot. You can just do like wait 10. So we can do, hopefully this works. I'm just shooting from the hip here, but this would be wait 1 frame, press punch, light punch, wait 10 frames, press heavy kick. Actually, let's make it 20 frames just to make sure the light punch is done. And then we'll press heavy kick. Nice scream. All right. There we go. So it looks like it went 21 frames because this counts as a 20. Let's see what happens. All right, it definitely does not like that. I guess you gotta wait 19 frames. So if we wanted 20 frames, we would do 19 frames. Cool. And there's one more detail to this. So oftentimes we want to control both the player and the dummy, and the file is actually pretty easy to read. So let's just make a test recording, and to do that I'm going to hit record, wait 1 frame, and then I'm going to make QB and Morgan move forward once for 1 frame, stop, make them move backward for 1 frame, stop, and then I'm going to make them both do light punch. All right, and then let's end that recording. All right, and let's see what it generates. So you can see that the way of doing the multiplayer is just a little bit of boilerplate at the top, which you can just feel free to leave in the MacroLua file and copy paste around, or you can just generate it this way. It's pretty easy. And you can see that QB and Morgan both move towards each other, then away from each other on the same frame, like I recorded, and then eventually they will light punch, and then it took me, I guess, 19 frames to disengage that recording. And we can actually add, you know, anything we want. So we could add something more to QB, or sorry, to Morgan. If I want them to do, let's say, down and light punch. I'm sorry, I did not mention earlier that you can mix directions and attacks. So let's see. Cool. that's mostly it. The easiest way to do this is definitely to generate a file first, and then you can just basically copy paste it to another one of these slots if you want. There is a heavy limitation here, which is that files for save states are not yet coordinated with slots, but I have a fix for that that's being ported to Fightcade, hopefully, and it should fix that. Let's actually, let's do an example. Let's see. Let's make a save state real quick. And let's test whose throw is faster. Oh god, I have to find some boilerplate. Yes. So let's start with a blank slate. And let's say, so we know both of their command grabs are half circle back and punch. So let's do that for QB. So QB's facing right. So that's going to be right, wait a frame, right, down, wait a frame. And let's pause this so you don't hear all that stuff. Right, down, wait a frame, and then it'll be left, down, wait a frame, left, and then let's make them do light punch and medium punch. So then we know Morgan's is going to be the same, but it's going to be facing left first. Left, down, down, right, down, right, 1, 2. And if we haven't done anything wrong, hopefully that'll work. I want to slow that down, so it looks like they activate on the same frame. And poor Morgan loses the interaction. Cool. That should be it. Hopefully that's a good primer on using this thing. And let me know if you have any more questions.